Welcome to Grassroots TV, the oldest continuously running community public TV in the USA. Well, here we are today in Aspen, Colorado, high up in the Rockies where the good vibrations go. And today it's all about the trust frequency. I'm going to be interviewing Connie, Marlow, Baxter, or Connie Baxter Marlow. What do you want? What do you want to be
Connie
called?
Baxter Marlow.
Connie Baxter Marlow. And we also have the incredible, wonderful presence of Andrew Cameron Bailey, and this is their book called The Trust Frequency. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. They have an interesting design on the front cover. And so what we're going to do is maybe get Connie and Andrew to explain the trust frequency, the 10 assumptions for a new paradigm. And of course, one of the things I like about the assumption is that a core belief which we take to be true without question. Connie.
Yes, Hinton.
So that's often the biggest fear of people, isn't it?
What is?
Without assumption, a truth, like not believing in something, right? Or believing in themselves?
Yes, well, we feel that we actually have a split in our psyche due to our upbringing and due to the core assumptions of the scientific paradigm that we've been raised in, that we are actually separated from our true selves. So that induces fear to trust yourself because we don't understand that we are loved by a conscious, loving, abundant universe. So that's what we're bringing with our book, is a construct on the nature of the universe. And the ideas developed here in Aspen through my association with indigenous elders that I brought here in Aspen through the 90s. And the cover of the book is Indigenous Cosmology equals Quantum Science. Our book is an indigenous cosmology, quantum science synthesis, which is a mouthful, but it's bringing indigenous cosmology that understands the interconnectedness and the sacredness of all life, and quantum science that's now proving that interconnectedness. And quantum science can't prove the sacredness, the love that drives all things. So this is a synthesis of the two.
Very good. So, and I'm familiar with this because you and I have had a lot of experience together. We've traveled. You talked about, you're bringing in indigenous people here like Wallace Black Elk. Mm-hmm. I've done a lot of sweat lodges with you and Wallace Black Elk. Actually, Wallace was my first sweat lodge. We have always trusted the loving, abundant universe. I mean, one of the great things that I remember with you is we traveled together. We went down to Mexico during 1995, right after the Mexican Revolution, and you had like an amazing associations and people that we met along the way, and we went to San Cristobal, and you were with Bishop Luis, who was the mediator between the Sabatistas and the government, and that was a real trust adventure for us, wasn't it?
Totally. Totally. I actually cashed in my IRAs and said to the universe, okay, universe, I'm all yours. I'm paying for this trip with this. And we brought you along as a filmmaker. You recorded cook. Everything, driver, cook, filmmaker. You've sent all the films back here to your show, Lifestyles of the Poor and Unknown. And we walked the trust frequency.
Absolutely, and it was a wonderful experience, and I want to thank you very much for that. I want to take us. That's why this show is so important to me today, because you're very special. You're like a sister. I've always thought of you as my sister, and we've had some wonderful experiences and adventures together.
Yeah, and the vision and mission of the Journey for Peace and Healing in the Americas that we took was that the peoples of the Americas would come together as one people and show the world how to walk in balance with all of creation. And the whole eagle and the condor coming together is a big deal now. And we sort of pre-saw that and had that as our vision and mission that this was going to happen.
Absolutely. And you have continued it, haven't you? You went back down to Mexico and followed up on your peace and healing adventure.
Yes, as a matter of fact, Andrew and Andrew actually wrote the book, The Trust Frequency.
He just
got to go to San Cristobal, thanks to a Chinese foundation who sent us back down to Mexico. This is trust frequency manifesting beyond anything you can fathom.
Right.
Sent us down there, and Andrew got to experience San Cristobal and the Lacandones in the jungle where we had been together. And we actually, all that basis that we formed in the 90s and that I formed down there before our trip has actually come to fruition now and is leading to the future. And we are having a photography exhibit down there this winter at Nabalome, and pursuing, and things have unfolded with Bishop Ruiz. He's gone now, but his legacy of bringing indigenous values into the Catholic Church is moving forward through various connections. So that's exciting.
Is the tension over down there, you think? Are the indigenous people and the government getting along now?
Well, what it's evolved into is that a new world is possible, a world that works for everyone. And that's what we feel that is the basis of this trust frequency work that we're doing, that there is a frequency, there's a party going on in a higher frequency. We're all invited, and we just don't know how to get there. So the book, The Trust Frequency, gives a construct on the nature of the universe that gives people the understanding of how the universe works so that we can walk in total trust, move into a higher frequency, and bring peace on earth. But Andrew, when he came into my life, he brought so much to this construct. I had pretty much put this construct together from my experiences, but he has a much broader experience level. He's been a Sufi. He was raised in South Africa. I'm an all-American girl. I was totally just Native Americans, the Americas, what they have to bring to the party. And when he came into my life, he brought his extensive background with the Sufi, with Native Americans as well, and being raised in South Africa with the Zulus.
How about the Bushmen of the Kalahari?
And the Bushmen of the Kalahari. Mm-hmm. We did a film, In Search of the Future, What Do the Wise Ones Know, that opened in the Kalahari. I mean, it was just magical that Andrew and I came together, being filmmakers, photographers, and visionaries of a future for humanity that came together in this book. So I don't know if you'd like to say something about the book and the trust frequency. And
Yeah, well, real quick, you're absolutely right, because I've known you both for a long time, and I met Andrew, and what Andrew has brought to this experience that you're sharing is quite incredible. I mean, it's like a match made in heaven. I mean, you guys are like so alike in intentions, what you're trying to do, and it's so, and of course, like back to the book, and Andrew put this together, right? I mean, he's really amazing writer.
He actually wrote the book, and a young man from here, Connor Johnson, showed up to help us. We actually created the book here in Aspen. Andrew and Connor, with InDesign, put it together, got it to 48-hour books because we were presenting at a conference in California. And we created this book that's now on Amazon. It can be gotten through our website, thetrustfrequency.net, and to Explore Booksellers and Book Train. And yeah, it's happening. We've really been waiting for the consciousness to catch up to what we're bringing, and it's getting there.
Well, you did an amazing job of putting it together. I mean, it's like, I love the high road to happiness. That's what we're on.
You want to take the low road? Feel free, but we're going to take the high road.
There you go. That's why we're here high up in the Rockies. Just real quick, and Andrew, I want to hear more about your input in this. But just open. The thing about this book is you can take this book and you can open it up to anywhere. Just like close your eyes and say, I'm going to open it up right here, and then go, well, let me see what I want to read today. Today we agreed to take this journey. What a humanity. What is humanity, right? It says, ultimately, we are much more than just another living organism on a tiny planet lost somewhere in the vastness of space. The opening of the human heart is the primary purpose of all creation. Let us revisit a very important definition, one that we asked you to take as absolutely true. Let us remember the overarching act of free will that brought us here in the first place. So here we are.
Right.
Always. I mean, it's like we just keep, coming back around together. It's just us three here. I mean, it's amazing. We're always on the high road. So, Andrew,
Yeah.
share some of your insights.
All right. So when I first met this young lady, Connie, we met in a gathering of indigenous wisdom keepers at the Omega Institute in upstate New York back in 2003. And as we got together and started traveling together, and Connie started expressing just verbally, I'm driving and she's talking, and she's saying this amazing stuff, which now has taken shape in this book. I kept saying, Connie, you got to write a book. You got to write a book. Connie, you got to write a book. You got to write a book. I don't think she wanted to write a book. So guess what happened? I wrote the book, put it into the structure, put it into the 10 assumptions, gave it that sort of 10-chapter structure that is sort of the backbone of the spine of the book. And much of that structure came from Connie's articulation of what she calls the nature, the true nature of the universe. And so my fundamental idea was, the subtitle of this is, so it's the Trust Frequency, 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm, was to just let people know in a very easy to grok way, in an easily understood way, the foundational importance of assumptions in our life. Our assumptions create what's a paradigm? A paradigm is just a set of assumptions. It's a worldview. So different people have different worldviews. If we were sitting in an African jungle with a group of pygmies, it would be a different world and a different worldview and different assumptions. We wouldn't be thinking about gorillas and bananas or however we're feeding the kids, or, or the rebels going on in the next country. We would have a different. We're still humans, but we have a different reality. So our reality, the way we experience reality, is filtered through these assumptions. So we ended up just taking kind of almost randomly, doesn't it? It could have been 3 assumptions or 13 assumptions, doesn't matter. But there was this famous thing called the 10 Commandments, remember that?
Sure.
So figure the 10 assumptions. The original title was the 10 Assumptions.
Right.
Just take 10 really important assumptions that rule or run our lives. Like Hinton, when was the last time someone walked up to you on the street and said, hey, Hinton, what are your 10 most fundamental core beliefs? We don't do that in this culture. Maybe the Buddhists do it, or maybe some other culture does it, but it's not part of our training. So it's about self-examination. It's about, what do I believe? What do I really believe? Because everything I learned from my parents, my teachers, my school, the media, my friends. By the age of 5 or 6 or 7 years old, I had internalized a belief system that was specific to my British colonial upbringing, which was slightly different from your American upbringing. And every culture has that, every ethnic group has that, every religion has that. So I wanted to just really make it general to humanity. 10 fundamental beliefs, look at the current belief, flip it on its head, invert it, and say, what if we believed the opposite of what is commonly believed? What would happen then? Because out of these beliefs come the world we have, the world we see. To pick up the New York Times, read the newspaper, and you go, I know where this comes from, a belief system. What if we flipped that belief system? Would the headlines change? Yeah, they would.
It's hard for people to do. Our reality is limited to our awareness, right? So, it's like people don't. But fear, I mean, like you just pointed out, parents and religion and things that we get programmed to believe in.
Right.
So it's real hard for people to let go and experience some of the things that, that we do. I mean, not saying that everybody doesn't have the freedom to do it, but it's just trusting. All this comes back to trusting.
Well, quantum science is now shifting that whole paradigm. It's showing the power of consciousness, and that's what our construct is about, that we have, and the movie The Secret showed people that we actually have the ability to manipulate the unified field to get what we want. Okay, our construct actually shows that there's a loving universe out there that wants more for us than we can fathom. So we actually say, don't limit the universe by telling it what you want, because it loves you so much that it has to give you that, but it actually wants more for you than you can fathom. So don't limit it with your intent. See, so all of our work really challenges the current assumptions because it actually is 180 degrees off of what is currently believed to be true, and also the level of in the consciousness field, which is basically stuck at this, tell the universe what you want and you'll get it, okay? We're saying, don't limit it. It wants more than you can fathom. There's a frequency out there that's higher and has a new set of laws, a different set of laws. Each frequency has a different set of laws that, as I said before, there's a party going on. We're all invited. We just don't know how to get there. And that's what we're doing with this book, is we're giving tools and keys for how to get into this higher frequency on an individual basis. Because the collective, it doesn't matter what the collective's doing. I mean, like you, you live in total trust. You are the poster child for the trust frequency. And the things that happen for you are beyond what anybody can imagine. How you live and what you do and what you manifest and where you go and what happens for you is a phenomenon in most people's reality.
In some ways, I mean, some people could think of it as like, you know, they expect a lot of, you know, success or finances or, you know, material things. It's like, you know, often karma is often misunderstood, because it's kind of what you were talking about, is that karma is what you bring into your life. I mean, it's funny about karma. Everybody always thinks that karma is something negative, but it's all what's in your mind. It's like how you think, it's what you believe or how you feel, and you bring whatever you'll manifest whatever you believe in, right? I mean, it's like how you behave is what your body language is telling the world.
It's also physics. It's also a frequency. It's a vibratory level.
Sure.
Okay? And we say we have the 7 A's of consciousness, 7 words that begin with A,
Yeah.
that determine your frequency. And we actually have them in a sentence. And I could say the sentence, okay?
Yeah.
And that sentence is, with accurate assumptions and expanded awareness, we choose our attitude, consciously direct our attention, take committed action, and allow the loving universe to manifest beyond our wildest dreams. And I left out 1A, and that was align with our highest inner promptings. That's key. Okay? Take committed action. There's a quote that's attributed to Goethe that says, when one commits beyond the chance of turning back, he didn't actually write that quote, but it's a key. When one commits without the chance of turning back, providence moves too. And one experiences all manner of unforeseen circumstances, material assistance, chance meetings, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way.
Right.
So what we say is, it's not providence moving, it's you moving into a higher frequency. Okay? And Henry David Thoreau actually has another quote from the end of his conclusion to Walden, which says, when one walks confidently in the direction of his dreams, he will pass a certain boundary. He will experience a success unexpected in common hours. The laws that apply to him will be expanded, or new laws will be made in his favor, and he will live with the license of a higher order of beings. Okay?
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Hallelujah.
Okay, you just got to do it.
That's a summary of the whole book, and it was written by Henry David Thoreau.
And Goethe and
simple, you know,
Not Goethe,
you know, of course, I love Thoreau, like you do. You know, I had a great opportunity to go to Boston with you at Walden Pond and go to Thoreau's. I said Walden Pond, right?
Yeah.
Where his cabin is, correct? And you know, because when I was living in a TP in Maine, I used to read Thoreau and Emerson. So, and that's what inspired me to live the you know, simple, you know, Thoreau's all about simplicity. Living simply, and I really believe it, and it allows you the freedom to open up and to experience things. Because I've been reading a lot about the 9th dimension, which you know, this dimensional awareness thing, and it's like it's a total conscious awareness, and in theory, it's like embodying everything. So that's, you know, respecting all life. I mean, we just was at the Carbondale Fair, and what was the Native Americans talking about? But, you know,
Exactly.
respecting and honoring all life, and water is life, and stuff like elemental forces are so important to us to stay alive, and we should respect that. And then, of course, I think understanding that, and then respecting yourself and honoring other people, and you open up, and then you can experience a lot more. But, you know, it's unfortunate that some people just don't have the courage or something, or I don't know what it is that holds people back.
Well, it's this split. It's this
You
separation
mean like
from
you say
the
split,
essence.
you talk about like double hemisphere, right,
Like
left
a
brain?
psychological split.
Yeah,
And
psychological.
a split divorced us from our true nature and the true nature of the universe because of these misconceptions about the nature of the universe, these erroneous assumptions about the nature of the universe. It boils right down to that.
It's a shame. It's like really is. I wonder how long it's going to take us to wake up.
Well,
You know?
look, there's 7.5 billion people, and we're going to wake up one at a time, and
That's all you can do.
it's rolling.
Right.
Well, there's
Yeah.
the 100th monkey concept,
Right.
that once a certain mass awakens, because that's all it is awakening to our true nature.
Right.
So
Because
it's-
we're all connected. It only takes, they say, something like 6% of us have to wake up, at which point the whole species wakes up. So it's a quantum leap in consciousness, if you will.
which is what's
Another
up.
way of looking at
And
it.
the whole breakdown that's happening in the country, in the world, to us is ideal for this circumstance of awakening and something new to be born. Because what has existed hasn't been okay, has not been in alignment with our true nature or the true nature of the universe. So we've got all these laws in place that we think, well, that's the best we can do. Well, it's not. So now that's breaking down. And what can come forth is the phoenix rising out of the ashes. So it's a very exciting time for those of us who trust in the opening of the human heart, the coming of peace on earth, the conscious, loving, abundant universe manifesting through us.
Absolutely. Being role models. You got love on your T-shirt this morning. It's all about love. So, so is there anything, I'm not sure where we are, but again, you're watching Grassroots TV, and we're coming to an end right now. I just got a signal. So real quick, is there anything you definitely want to share? Because I like the number 10, the trust frequency, is a real place of unfathomable joy, peace, and abundance that is freely available to anyone, everywhere, anytime, and
Yeah, it's
That's
a
it.
choice.
We just have to choose it.
We
and
can
this-
live, we can base our lives on trust, or we can base it on fear.
okay.
Our
So
choice.
we're going to live in trust, and I love you have trust. You have the flower of life with trust on it. It's coming to an end. Thank you for watching Grassroots TV, and I've had the wonderful pleasure of interviewing Andrew Cameron Bailey and Connie Baxter Marlow on their new book, The Trust Frequency. If you get a chance to get it again, you can have it by your bed and just open it up any place, and it has some great wisdom. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.